Before we get into the road games this week, I want to quickly go back to the Love, Honor, Care stuff from last week. Obviously, a lot going on, a lot of people involved. You guys have raised more money each year that you've done it. Can you just kind of give us an update on how this year has gone?
Well, I think, as you've said, we've raised more money each year. I think there's no doubt we've raised more money. Last year was, I think first year was 6, the second year was 10, last year was 14. We're at least 18 this year, at least 18 plus. So the final figure will be coming up, and we'll see what happens. But a lot of work was done. A lot of work done by a lot of great people. My staff leading the way, and our committee is just fantastic with all the things that we had done. And then the president and Renata joining in this year. I'm telling you right now, if we get 18 plus, let's say, for example, we may get 20, I'm telling you we'll easily get 30 or 40 or even 50 next year just because of the involvement of our administration, of the president and Renata and what they want to do for it. That's just so exciting, and it's so good for our players, for our program, for our athletic department, and for our university to give back to the community.
Now, getting back to basketball a little bit, and last week you talked about your team being real fighters. Both those games could have maybe gone a little worse, but they really battled themselves back into those games. You guys have had 3 games decided by 5 points or less, 2 of them last week. Just talk about the experience that gives you guys going forward, particularly at this time of the year. It's going to be a really scrappy type of game.
Well, I think, I do think we fought really hard in both games. I think there certainly, yes, the games came down to the last play as far as what the final result would be. We did not play perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Could play a whole lot better and have the potential to play better. But I do think that with the adversity that was in the games, both of those games, to be able to come back and have an opportunity to get that last shot, I think those experiences we learn from and our players learn from. I mean, in both games we had in the last game, we had 2 looks at it, real good looks, I thought, and then Northern Illinois, we had a good look at it too. So certainly those kind of experiences, you can't set those up. You can set them up in practice, but it's just not the same thing. And so you just hope and want our players to learn and to learn from it, and as they're put into it, to be able to handle it well. And again, I thought we executed really well. I thought we were able to get the shot, and so. I mean, that's all you can ask, and it's got to be a good shot. It's got to be the person you want to shoot it as best you can.
The 2 road games this week, does it help sometimes when you go back on the road and make it a little more business-like, a little more focused when you get out there?
I think so. I think when you get away, I think and then they're thinking about specifically about the game. I like that. I like being away from campus a little bit. Love being at home with the crowd and love that situation. But when you're on the road, it is all about you and about your team, and it's about each other as far as what their focus is, and they don't have a whole lot of distractions. And
then now that you saw Bowling Green on Saturday, you saw every team you're going to play, and you got a couple more left. But just kind of how much of your game plan goes into what you did against that team last time versus, okay, this is the current things we need to work on, because obviously we see Akron again for the second time on Wednesday.
Well, certainly there's things that we want to work on for ourselves as we near the end of the year and for us to get better. But we certainly look at that game and kind of evaluate and critique, how did they play us, how are we playing them, did it work, did it not work, what did they do against us that worked that we, maybe we can counter. And I think that's what, as you step on the floor with everybody in that second round, the game is usually different in the second game.
Going back to that, kind of off that a little bit, their best player, Hannah Plyben, you kept her to 7 points last time. I imagine a lot of the focus will be going in to try to do that kind of same thing again.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't play Akron without Plyben's the first person you better try to handle, and she's a great player and a great shooter, and we have to do for us to have a chance, we'll have to do a great job against her again. We can't let her have 20 or 30 points and expect to go to Akron and get a win. So we have to do a good job on her and have to try to, she'll be at home. She's much more comfortable at home too. We got to try and make her as uncomfortable as we can there. And then certainly they have other players that we'll have to keep in check. I thought their point guard played really well against us the last game, and we'll have to do a better job on her for sure. And I'm sure Ricketts wasn't real happy with the way she played, and she'll be ready to play again. And so, we'll have to, just we beat them the first time doesn't mean they're just going to turn around and hand it to us. They're not going to hand it to us. We'll have to go up there and do everything we can to take it from them.
As the season kind of winds down here, has it become more difficult a little bit to kind of look ahead to try to maybe look at, okay, this is where we'll be here, this will be there? How do you kind of keep the team and even yourself kind of focused on one game at a time?
Well, we only talk about one game. We only talk about one game at a time, and we only talk about who we're playing. We only talk about what's going on in practice there. You can't, our eyes are forward, but they're not in the future. Our eyes are forward to what's right directly in front of us, whether it's practice that day, and we're prepping for, like now, prepping for Akron, and that's all we talk about, and that's all we encourage our kids to talk about.
All right, thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Appreciate it. Did a great job today.